You're watching NFL Daily, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us as the AFC Divisional Round is officially set. Coming up on today's show, we are going to take a look at the AFC Divisional Round matchups and tell you what you need to know here in just a little while from right now. Before we get too far along, let's kind of look back at what went on in Wild Card Weekend in the AFC as the Houston Texans had a convincing win over the LA Chargers, 32-12. And that was kind of the theme of this weekend in the AFC was teams not only getting wins, the teams up top, but also convincing wins across the board. The Baltimore Ravens really held their own against the Pittsburgh Steelers with a 28-14 win over their arch rivals on Saturday night. And then the Buffalo Bills in the first game of the day on Sunday with really just a strong second half there against Denver as they went on to score 31 answered points after initially trailing 7-0, giving up an opening drive touchdown. They win 31-7. The Chiefs obviously had a first-round bye. They would await the lowest remaining seed in the AFC. And so with all the wild card teams officially out, that means the lowest remaining seed is the Houston Texans. So the Chiefs will face the Texans coming up on Saturday in Kansas City. And my first kind of thoughts when I look at this matchup between these two teams, we go back to what happened a couple of weeks ago. And the Chiefs really just dominated that game and did a really good job of creating turnovers in their win against Houston. They were able to pick off C.J. Stroud multiple times. Trent McDuffie, who doesn't get a whole lot of interceptions, he had an interception in that game, and that was a big difference for this Chiefs team, was their ability to create turnovers. That's something that they've struggled with throughout much of this season, is creating turnovers. If they can get those extra possessions, then there's no reason why Kansas City shouldn't be able to win this football game. What I do wonder, and this is a question I have for both these teams when I look at this matchup, is what versions of them are ultimately going to show up. You look at the Houston Texans. We mentioned the big win they had against the LA Chargers, but down the stretch, that team really struggled in the last few weeks of the regular season. We mentioned losing to Kansas City, getting blown out on Christmas at home to the Baltimore Ravens. But then, once the playoffs hit, that game against the Chargers, they appeared to really flip a switch there. What version are we going to see? Are we going to see the Texans team from a few weeks ago, or have they turned a corner with that win that they had there against L.A.? Meanwhile, for Kansas City, you look at this Kansas City Chiefs team, and it's been an exciting season. They've done an incredible job to win close games. But down the stretch, those final 3 weeks, against Cleveland, against Houston, and Pittsburgh, they really cranked it up another notch with just inserting their will. And they've gotten a lot of guys back from injury, most recently Charles Omenihu, Isaiah Pacheco, Hollywood Brown, and they got more guys coming back. Jalen Watson potentially could be available. Chris Jones looks like he's healthy. Jawan Taylor, among others here. So the Chiefs are fresh off a bye week, and they have all these guys that have been they're getting back from injury, and their starters haven't played in 25 days. So does that mean that this Chiefs team is going to come in guns a-blazing and ready to go off the jump, or could that be too much time off potentially? Could they come in a little bit rusty? That remains to be seen, but I definitely lean towards the Chiefs here. It's hard to pick against Kansas City in the postseason with their track record, but this Texans team, it's a dangerous scenario for Kansas City that they have nothing to lose. They are coming in as complete underdogs here. I think it's setting up for a very interesting game here between these two. Who will win the AFC? Who will take home Lamar Hunt's trophy? Will it be the Chiefs? Will it be the Texans? Will it be the Ravens or the Bills? Get your predictions in the chat. Let us know who you think wins the AFC. Today's show is sponsored by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the place to go for daily fantasy made easy. Here's how it works. You choose 2 or more players at any given category. Get the choice of more or less, whether you're talking fantasy points in football, rebounds in basketball, goals in hockey, all sorts of different categories to choose from. Go to PrizePicks.com/SailItS. Promo code SailItS. Get $50 to play for free when you play $5, and you can win up to 1,000 times your money on PrizePicks right now. And a look ahead to Monday night's action, as we still have plenty of NFC games to get to over the next couple of days. I got Puka Nacua to have more than 8 receptions. Give me Aaron Jones to have less than 60.5 rushing yards and Sam Darnold to have less than 66.8 completion percentage. Play along with me. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Promo code CLNS. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. PrizePicks, proud partner of NFL Daily. Glad to have them on board here on today's show. Appreciate them sponsoring the program. All right, let's talk about the Bills and Ravens matchup now. We mentioned both these teams with convincing wins in the wild card round. And let's start with the Ravens for a second here. Lamar Jackson has been so good this season with what he's done to elevate that offense. You know, he won the MVP last year, but he's even playing better this year than he did last season. And he's mixing up the run and the pass game together. He's really getting the most out of his abilities. Now, they were without Zay Flowers on Saturday night. We'll see what his status is going forward, but there's been a lot of question marks over the years in the playoffs when it comes to Lamar and his passing abilities. We've seen that be the detriment to him in these postseason games. With not knowing what Zay Flowers is like, can the Ravens be effective in their passing game? We know they can run the football with Lamar and Derrick Henry and all that, but are they going to be able to be effective in the passing game when it comes to getting the ball to guys like Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely and company? That, to me, is going to be an interesting key. Meanwhile, for the Buffalo Bills, I really like the way the Bills played against the Denver Broncos. They started a little slow, but they got so much better as the game went along. Sean McDermott made some incredible adjustments along the way. And Josh Allen, the thing that I really like, what I've seen from Josh Allen here in this 2024 through 25 campaign, is he's cleaning up the little stuff. He was so turnover prone throughout his career. In this version that we're seeing of Josh Allen, maybe he didn't put up the numbers that he's put up in years past, but with what they lost in the receiver room, losing guys like Stephon Diggs and others, Josh Allen had to change up his approach a bit, where he couldn't take as many chances to push the football down the field, had to be a more disciplined passer, kind of similar to what happened with Patrick Mahomes with the Kansas City Chiefs a couple years ago when Tyreek Hill left. And as a result, that's made Josh Allen a better quarterback. He's been a much better decision maker. But don't sleep on the run game for Buffalo either. James Cook was fantastic in that win against the Denver Broncos. To me, I'm looking for Buffalo. It's twofold. Will Josh Allen avoid making mistakes? And then how well can they run the football here? Buffalo's a slight favorite, but this is a game for me that I really could see going either way between these two teams. I lean towards Buffalo. I think I would take Buffalo here in this game, but this is anybody's contest. And it very well could come down to these two quarterbacks, two of the best quarterbacks in football, of who's going to have the better day that day, who's going to outplay one another. And you also think about the pass rush efforts as well. The Ravens, their defense is not as good as what they were last year. The Bills, I know they're ranked 17th in the NFL in total defense, but they have some pass rushers, some guys that can get after the quarterback. What team is going to do a better job of getting after the quarterback and applying pressure? I lean towards Buffalo in that sense if you make me choose between the two. Can anyone stop the Kansas City Chiefs? They're still the team to beat entering the postseason this year. Do you think this is the year that somebody ends their reign? Weigh in, let us know. Type Y for yes, in for no if you think somebody is stopping the Kansas City Chiefs. We are covering the NFL playoffs like no one else is here at Chat Sports, as we got watch parties for every game. In fact, you may be watching this, taking a break from watching our coverage of the Eagles-Packers game. Once you're done with this video, go check out that watch party going on our main channel right now. We also will be live later tonight for the Commanders-Bucks game and tomorrow as well for the Vikings-Rams game. Along with every playoff game, we're going to continue bringing you our daily news and rumors and more right here on Chat Sports NFL Daily. Subscribe now for free. YouTube.com/ChatSportsTV. Subscribe now. You'll be glad you did. Some final thoughts on these matchups here before we wrap up here on this front. Kansas City, I think for them, they're taking on a team that has nothing to lose. If the Houston Texans, they really have nothing to lose out there. And Kansas City, all the pressure is on them. The expectation, everybody says this is their team, their year. They are the team to beat again. Will they embrace that role, or are they going to come out against a Houston team that's firing with the chip on their shoulder, something to prove? To me, that's a fascinating matchup. And then Buffalo and Baltimore. the path going forward from here. To me, it's very tough for the winner of this game to win this and then beat Kansas City. I'd much rather be in Kansas City spot and then have to go to Kansas City as well. It should be interesting to say the least. Appreciate you joining us here on this edition of NFL Daily. And lock us in. Subscribe now if you haven't already for the latest happenings across the National Football League. We got you covered. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.